Do you remember that Listen to Your Heart remix that came out in 2001? Listen to Your Heart.
No.
Do you not remember it? It was by DHT or so. It was like...
I'm definitely have heard it. I don't remember the accent.
Oh, yeah, that was the full-on accent.
Love it.
And I remember it came on some kind of thing the other day. And I remember when it came out at the time, I would have been like 12.
Yeah.
12 or 13. I remember at the time thinking, like, there's nothing like this song in the world. Like, I couldn't believe such a good piece of music had been created. Do you know? Like, I was beside myself that this song had come out.
Yeah.
And then Cascada happened, and I was like, how do they do it?
What? You spoil me. You spoil me so much.
This is such a treat. I cannot believe that I get to listen to more music like this.
I know, yeah. Oh, stop.
See, it's that Roxette song, and then they put the uns behind it.
Oh, the uns is unbeatable.
Yeah.
I love an uns.
There you go.
I want to set up a playlist with just unses.
I was like, oh my god.
Oh, I remember the accent now.
Yeah.
Very.
Listen to your hair.
I love it. My Roman Empire though has to be you know that I'm trying to find it here. It's like I can't explain it. What's that song? My heart cried out to you, you left again.
Mickey Modell, Dancing in the Dark.
It's Mickey Modell.
Yeah, Mickey Modell.
Can we just for a second, because there's a specific song and I'd like to be able to beatbox it. Might practice that actually. Might put that onto my New Year's resolutions in July.
That's your goal.
You know that that part?
Yeah.
It's like a glass being filled up. It's fucking undescribable.
It's incredible. It's everything that you've ever wanted to be.
Absolutely everything.
Dancing in the Dark. There it is. 24 million streams.
And it deserves it.
And it should have more, to be honest.
And it's probably all people taking the piss here listening to this. Remember that? You know that?
Yeah, being like
24 million people.
I just wish we could go back to Clubland. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I've noticed though? With just having the radio on and work, not a lot of 80s-esque music back.
Explain. Like
As
what?
in, I can't remember the fucking names of them now because of course I can't. 'Cause I don't. You like name songs and like talk about these things as if like it's just common knowledge. I hear a song on the radio. The presenters don't even say the name of the artist or the song anymore. So you just listen to them and you're just like, yeah, grand, that you can't think of them.
But I
It's in
listen
the
to a lot more
charts
music
anyway.
than I'd say you do.
Probably. You drive an awful lot more than I do.
Yeah, I know.
I'm listening to YouTube shorts on me, like blasting through the stereos.
That's mad. I was only talking about that today. It's so weird to me how like my car is like my second gaff.
Yeah.
Like I'm in that thing. Do you know what I mean?
But
Like
it's
I'm
out. Mine
in
was
it.
before I had kids though as well.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
And we were chatting in work and like none of them really drive. Like they know how to drive, but no one drives it. They don't. They're like they walk everywhere and they don't like. They're like everything's around us though. And I'm like that's fucking crazy to me.
Right, there's a Taylor Swift song out as well. What is that one called? It was on the radio yesterday. I was driving into town.
Oh god, there's so many of them, Jen.
There are millions of them.
Actually, millions.
But it was anyway. They just sound very 80s-esque, and I feel like it's off the back of Stranger Things.
Okay.
Since Stranger Things became popular, there's an awful lot more artists using that kind of 80s. Bear with me. Sorry, little BTS.
Yeah. I let her stop and I go, do you know what? I think you're talking about Chapel Roan, Good Luck Babe. And she was, and I was like, which was my stomper of the week a long time ago. And you made fun of me for it. And
I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying
No, I
that
know.
it's present now.
But
Like, as in, it's this one. Just, and even the graphics on Spotify, like, you know, the little graphic that they loop,
yeah.
real 80s.
Okay.
And I just feel like off the back of Stranger Things, we're seeing more and more with this. Like, I won't look for the Taylor Swift song. You have your example there. But the fact that that's happening, I'm like, we have to have another DJ Cammy era. It has to be coming up.
Oh, I get you. See, okay, so it's a weird one. So with Chapel Roan, like one of her biggest, you're right and you're wrong. Because like one of her biggest inspirations is Kate Bush.
It's very Kate Bush. That's what I mean.
And
like
a lot of people relate, but she's a very different artist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's very much in like, and she's really putting like a queer facing woman on the map, like a main pop girl who's singing sapphic songs. And like, I love Chappell Roan.
Yeah.
Her album is like all that I play pretty much. And I adore, like, that's not even on her album. Do you get me? Like, that's not actually on Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. That's like her, like one of her latest songs, and it was like debuted near Coachella, so like April. And anyway, she picked up a lot of traction because she's very unique as an artist, and her voice is fucking everything. And she, like, everything, her styling, just the way that she is. But she kind of went from like doing, like, she's doing the Olympia.
Oh my God.
This year, but she should be doing the 3.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because it's like, that's how quickly she has taken off in this last kind of like 7 months. So as I said, like one of her inspirations is like Kate Bush, and it's like, and people are kind of like, it's like that perfect pop song, is it? Or like that kind of level of whatever. But then she's such her own thing. So it's really hard.
She's doing it well, I will say.
Yeah. Like, absolutely.
Like another example would be Please, Please, Please.
Yeah, and I think it's
they're just like very 80s.
It's very kind of it's very like what I like about Sabrina Carpenter, we talked about this before, is like it's so simplistic but great and hooky and catchy, and I feel like pop music was so like for so long.
Yeah.
Shit pop music, like, and us included.
Yeah.
You know, like when we were growing up we were like, no, I actually like R&B.
I like urban.
I wouldn't call Christina pop. Now I'm like, she was. But you know, at the time I was like, no, listen to Stripped. That's not pop.
Exactly.
Yes, it is.
Just like so deep.
But people get weird about like calling the Beatles pop. They are the epitome of pop music. And people are like, Beatles aren't pop. Okay, tell me what they fucking are then.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's like, anyway, whatever. Like, pop stands for popular music.
I would have called the Beatles doo-wop.
No.
A little bit of doo-wop.
No.
No?
No.
They were a little bit of doo-wop.
No.
Or am I thinking of the Beach Boys? The Beach Boys are
Think of
doo-wop.
the Beach Boys, they're doo-wop. They're like,
I love a bit of doo-wop.
Yeah. I loved when the Beach Boys started writing for Girls Aloud. I thought that was a real time.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
thought that was
didn't know that.
real. Oh no, sorry. Was that the Pet Shop Boys? It was one of the two anyway. Maybe it was the Pet Shop Boys that I'm thinking.
That
But
makes
anyway,
sense.
it was a time. But I lost. What was I going to say? Oh yes. What I can't stand is them ripping up all our fab trance tracks and banging, what's your one, Ella Henderson on them. I'm not into that.
I'm loving them.
I'm just kind of like,
them.
no, don't. Do you know what it is? I think it's lazy.
Oh no, it is. It absolutely is.
Because you know that new people are going to be like, oh my God, that's like, not new people, sorry, younger
Genius.
people are going to be like, oh my God, that's such a banger. And then you're going to get that nostalgia. Like, it's so lazy because like they are like,
Yeah, but they're going for what will
on
sell.
the beach is, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
all of these songs like Children, On the Beach, like all of these incredible trance songs from, I love the way I'm like, all these incredible, like I was 6. Do you know what I mean? But that's what we grew up.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have such a cycle of music back then. You know, songs that were massive in like 96 were still huge in 2002.
Yeah. That's very true.
Do you know what song came on the other day as well? I was absolutely howling. I was like, oh my God, I've not heard this in the longest time. Rock your body, mic check, 1, 2.
Oh my God, MVP.
They just came and left.
Where did they go?
They dropped that banger and they fucked off.
Absolute banger. It really was.
Incredible song, weirdest video.
Yeah.
Yeah, the strangest video.
Is
3
there a
guys.
volcano and a sacrifice or something like that?
Yeah,
in
and
it?
she's in mud and she's like, we can manage the land strong, you know, and just like shaking her tits. And good for you, girl.
Yeah.
Good for you, girl. But
What
an instead, like those 3 men, I would never want to be at any function, in any room, in any kind of way, shape or life with those 3 men.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, if you're one of our younger listeners or if you're somebody who, you know, wasn't on that side of the internet, congratulations. Number 1. Number 2, look up that video. Thank me later.
They have dreads.
One of them possibly did.
One of them
there was
definitely
one
had
who was so, the main guy was so white.
Yeah.
He was snowy, shall we say.
With a wife beater on.
Yeah.
I can just,
And Pauly D hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so in my brain.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple other guys kind of just floating around the back, kind of making gang signs. I
Do
don't
you
really know.
I'm surely like the people who aren't aware of that song or that video have seen the viral clip of the two blokes on X Factor going, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Mysterious girl.
Mysterious.
Yeah.
Come on, baby.
Come on.
Buddy. That's what they're like.
Yeah, they are an evolved version of that. They're an American version, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even know if they're American. I'm going to go right ahead and say
to be fair, it's a banger. It is.
Oh, it's such a tune. But I'd love to know, how did those people, like even Crazy Frog, okay? So who signed Crazy Frog? Who co-signed that?
I don't know.
Do you know, like, even what was that, Fast Food Rockers? Like who? I think that might have been Simon Cowell. Do you know, I need to know more about that.
It was such a time. I remember like the Cheeky Girls, Last Ketchup. Like there was quite a lot of
like they weren't getting
Europop.
5 album deals. You
No.
know the way that like everyone else was getting absolutely screwed out of these deals.
Mm-hmm.
They were not those people.
No. Well, the Cheeky Girls were both married to the same millionaire, weren't they?
Oh, I don't know.
Or was that a
probably.
rumor? It was up
that
there
a
with
rumour?
Marilyn Manson taking his own ribs out. Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. Maybe they were dating the same man. I think they were actually. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting confused with like Hugh Hefner. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They
I
are
feel
so,
like they
they
were
are so
married.
far from
or
that.
was it two? Anyway, they married rich. That's all I know.
They did.
They were cheeky.
They were so cheeky.
Yeah.
And again, a novelty act from.
Brilliant, yeah.
But who was like, who put that out? Who decided that deal? How much money did they get from that song? I need to know more. I'm not satisfied with just accepting that they were given. Now, we were the bigger fucking idiots. I don't know why. I'm sure it's something to do with like George Bush or something along those lines. I'm sure it's something to do with the political regime of the world at that point as to like why people were accepting these songs as number one hits. Like, bing, bing, bam, 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 bam. That's all we gave a fuck about.
Ding, ding.
That's all we cared. We cared about the Crazy Frog.
And he's still doing the rounds.
You know who's still selling out arenas?
Who?
Psy. Gangnam Style.
What?
Yeah. Do you not see him on TikTok?
No.
I mean, me there. Hundreds of thousands. I can't count. I'm sure there's like 50,000 people. But huge arenas. This
But
man.
is that in Asia? He'd be big in Asia. Like.
Yeah, but like the tunes are still the tunes.
Yeah.
The songs are still the songs. Like you're not going to see us. You know the way we went to Jason Derulo, and he is as much a novelty act as he is not a novelty act. It's kind of like
he acts like he's not.
He acts like he's not, but he is a novelty act. But then at the same time, what a show.
Fucking fantastic.
A great show and a great showman.
Yeah.
And has no level of shame.
No.
And that makes for a really compelling show because they're doing like telenovelas and everything on the stage.
But even though, like some of the people that I spoke to, because obviously we went as a staff night out, and we were putting up posts and stuff like that, and like the people DMing me and like the page were like dead serious. Wasn't it a brilliant show? And I was like, yeah, it was so ridiculous. And
it was so entertaining.
It was was like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Nicki Minaj could never. And her bleeding antics. Why are we still supporting her in the first place?
Firstly, I have no idea. Secondly, I have no idea. Thirdly, girl, what?
I know.
But it's, she cancelled this week. So if you're not up to speed and if you're not in Ireland, you don't know what's going on. Nicki Minaj was supposed to play Malahide Castle. Now, I've watched a few of the things on TikTok. So as far as I'm aware, she was supposed to come on at 8:30 or so.
Well, they said 8 and then there was something that went out saying she'll be fashionably late. So people were expecting 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. So there was really good DJs apparently on from, I think the doors, they're stupid the way they open the fucking doors at 6. It's like, what am I going to do here? Like there's only so much beer, like stale beer I can drink and fucking
and it was
food vendors I can have.
Outdoor.
And it's pissing wet. Like it was so torrential. It was crazy. And anyway, so there was 2 DJs that were on that were apparently brilliant. They were deadly. I don't know if they were Irish or they were part of but they weren't part of her tour. Mm-hmm. They were like
Irish
drafted for this part. So they possibly were. And then they went and her DJ started and her DJ just played her songs.
Right.
So as you can imagine, people were a little
bit confused.
Well, they were kind of like, that's grand. Where is she?
Yeah.
And she didn't come out then for another hour and a half.
Like. And
So
she
she rocked
apparently
up.
she was tweeting
Oh, jeez.
throughout all this. I can't confirm that. Let me take a little look at what she was at on
tweeting.
Sunday on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Was it Sunday or Monday? I thought it was. Oh no, it was Sunday.
Sunday,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. So she decides. Anyway, not she decides. She comes out that late. Apparently, she'd been really late to all of her concerts, and this is like a thing. And then she also had that really weird incident in one of the other countries. Oh, I can't remember which one now, where there was something about passports, or she wasn't getting in, or she didn't have her passport, or someone didn't have their passport, and then she ended up fighting with the guards there. I think it was in Amsterdam. I think it was. Honestly, I think it was. Yeah, it was. It was in Amsterdam, and she was arrested over having dozens of joints in her luggage. And then she kind of she
In
said that-
Amsterdam?
in Amsterdam,
Where it's legal.
it's legal in. I think it's decriminalized. I don't know. Please don't. I don't know.
Okay.
But again, anyway, so she said she was arrested, and she said that her treatment was just disgusting, and she was confident it was because it was racist toward her. So her concert was then cancelled, and she was arrested at the airport pretty much. And I think there was somebody filming too. It was really strange. And then she didn't get to Manchester. Anyway, it was. It's been a whole. It's not been like an easy breezy
always been
tour.
messy.
There's always fucking something going on.
It's a bit like your one is Ailey Banks, isn't it? There's always something with her.
But like ever since, like to be honest, the Megan Thee Stallion beef. When she tweeted about her cousin's balls.
Yeah, with the COVID.
With COVID, that was like well and truly mental. Then you had Jessie Nelson. Then you had Megan Thee Stallion big fuckgate, where she just seemed so unbelievably out of it. And now there's this tour. So anyway, she was supposed to come on at 9, and she rocked up at she was supposed to come on at 8:30, and she rocked up at when?
5 to 10. So I'm just looking at the tweets here from that specific time. Irish flag, like at 8:53, she was retweeting to beat the band.
Okay.
At 8:55, she wished 50 Cent a happy birthday.
Okay.
That's what 8:57, that's what she was doing. And then she retweeted somebody who, I think they were being passively aggressive sarcastically. They put up a story, and it says the reality, and has the time on it, 21:53. But she retweeted it, and I think she retweeted it, and she was like, "I'm the best." The crowd were fire emoji. But I think she thought the person was serious. I think they were trying to highlight the fact that this is the reality. It's 21:53, and she's only entering the stage now.
So she only entered the stage. She did 3 songs, and then she fucked off for 15 minutes.
And apparently there was loads of costume changes. Yeah.
And apparently she did like 8 costume changes. But in Malahide Castle, you have to be gone by 10:30 because of residents.
Yeah.
So everybody was like, "What's going on?"
There's mixed.
You came on at 10 to 10.
People. Yeah, there's mixed kind of things from people. Some people are saying 45 minutes, other people are saying a half an hour. Like it was
less than an hour. The concert was less than an hour.
Less than 45 minutes.
And it was €90 a ticket. So do with that information what you will.
Yeah, mental.
But now she's after cancelling her gig. So she had a gig before. There's some festival this weekend that she's doing. And she had a gig in the middle in Poland, I think. And she was like, "Yeah, we're not going to make it, soz."
Like,
Mad.
It's just
mad.
It's like she's been on a downward spiral for a while now, hasn't she?
That's what I mean. I don't really
like her behaviour is shocking,
off the charts, and that's what I mean. It was like, first of all, she was always really aggressive, like always incredibly aggressive whenever she'd be on lives and all that other kind of stuff. And look, I'm not going to pretend that I know her fucking backstory. I don't particularly know, and I don't particularly care. But I think she was always really protective and really possessive over like her name as the best, the GOAT, the best person who did it.
But she was the only female rapper for a while.
She wasn't the only female rapper. She was just the most publicly,
popular,
she was the most popular female rapper, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But she started the fight with Cardi. Then she started the fight with Megan. You know what I mean? It's just after a while,
Cardi
you're like, piss off.
When Cardi B,
yeah,
it like busted onto the scene. That's when she started getting sour. I think she just saw anyone else that was similar to her as competition.
But it's so strange,
so unhealthy. Like,
I don't find them similar at all. I don't find their music similar. I don't find like you can't just be like, okay, it's a black woman rapper, therefore it's just really strange.
That's what I think Nicki Minaj sees it as.
Oh, I think she just is, for some reason, in such a rage about her standing and where she is. And I think in rap politics in general, like they're always talking about like the big three, who's the biggest, who's the best, who, you know, there's all of this. It's like part of the culture to have like beef with other rappers and make music about that. And, you know, that's part of it. That's grand. But then when it's all I hear about you, I don't really give a fuck. Like, make some good tunes.
Yeah.
We'll have a dance.
There's Beyonce, billionaire, and I saw a quote from her earlier on. She was like, "What would I do if Eminem dissed me? I wouldn't fucking. You don't mess with Eminem. I wouldn't say anything." I'm like, billionaire.
Did she actually say that?
Yeah.
No way.
I wouldn't fucking say anything.
Yeah.
You don't mess with Eminem.
Yeah, but at the same time, Eminem might mess with you, and that's not okay either. Like, he didn't have to say all that shit about Megan Thee Stallion. Like, there's literally no reason. Like, that's again.
Yeah, well,
Eminem got away with blatant misogyny, like wild,
Absolutely.
insane shit. And I was like, okay, it's kind of art separating from the artist in a kind of way. It's not okay. It's not cool. It's really fun. Like we had a good chat about this before on our Patreon episode. Plug it, by the way, there, guys. If you want to pop on over, it was a great tune or great listen and a great think back as to that time.
Yeah.
But in particular, I don't understand. It's really fucked up how normalised everybody made Megan Thee Stallion getting shot by her ex. Like, Drake joked about it. Eminem jokes about it. Plenty of people were like, Chris Brown was like, free Tory Lanez. Like, that man is a criminal. And the reason why he got so much time in prison is because he is on probation for other criminal activity.
Yeah.
This guy is not a good guy. He's not a good person. And it's really shit for a woman in her career that's probably the biggest thing she's known for.
Yeah.
Other than like her specific hold during like lockdown with TikTok, with Savage, with all that, like with her music, like with her actually being a very good rapper, a very accomplished person, amazing freestyler.
Yeah.
It's really shit that I'm like, you didn't have to take that. And I know like Eminem's known for his, like, first of all, that song's dog shit. What's the song that he sampled on it? I couldn't believe it.
Back.
It's called Houdini.
Yeah.
And it's...
Guess who's back? That his old... Look, you know his old song?
Yeah, it's not that. It's another fucking dog shit song.
Good job for me now. I wrote it. That one.
Let me see. Houdini. Is this?
It's Paul.
No, it's that one. Abracadabra.
Yeah.
That's what he sampled. That's shit.
Yeah.
That's a shocker.
But do you know what? He's such a fucking outright marketer as well.
Yeah, but at this point, you know, when someone kind of goes, okay, so he was like a person in our lives when we were growing up. Again, same as listen to your heart, you know what I mean? It was all around the same time, okay?
Yeah.
We had Eminem and we had that, you know? And then he kind of just fucked off out of the spotlight, completely fine, that's grand. Came back, did a few ciphers. Everybody was like, you know, Eminem is, whoa, he's one of the best to ever do it. Like, he's really good at a cipher. He's a really good freestyler. That's kind of how he came up in the world anyway. And dabbled in little bits and bobs. And then it's like, why are you recreating something from 20 years ago?
Well,
like, you don't need that anymore. People were like, we respect you. He could put out any body of work, any like serious body of work.
I liked where he had gone when he did Kamikaze and all that kind of, like, he had gotten more into it, like a mature
bit more,
kinda,
that's what I mean, like mature and serious rather than like, that was funny when you were like 22 and you were, and that was kind of the now again, I'm not condoning it, but that was like the world that we were living in, and it was like you got away with it, and you had all these beefs, and you like really, really, really hated women, and you got away with it. But like you can't really turn around now. Like if you turn around now and we're like, look, I don't really co-sign a lot of my old stuff. Like I understand that it made me who I am and all that other kind. Like, you know, there's a lot more respect for. You get away with a lot more then, where you're just kind of saying,
well, that's
I've looked
the
back.
whole point of Houdini, though.
But
it's the lyrics in it. He's at war with the old Slim Shady because he's talking about the political correctness and the policing around that now. Like if you listen to the lyrics, it's like you can't actually, like the old me would have fucking wouldn't have gone anywhere. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's paying, no.
But he's fuming about that.
See, it depends on what the rest of the album's going to be. Like, I don't think they're all going to be like that. I think this is a novelty song based off. And I'm not a big, massive fan or anything like that. Adam's really into him, so I fucking hear more than I actually like. Everything that I know about that man is against me will. I didn't know we had a third daughter.
Yeah.
Stevie?
Yeah.
No idea. No fucking idea.
See, I feel like I hear more about Hailey than I do about him. Do you know that kind of way? Like, I feel like that's more of a
got
thing.
a podcast and all that now,
Yeah.
like, but she, like, and I have heard him talking about the whole, like, because it wasn't until I had listened to some of his old songs recently that I was like, fucking hell, he hates women. But then I'd seen interviews of him, like, of course I don't fucking hate women. I have 3 daughters, like, you know, it's all outrage. You know, it's for the fucking reaction. It's all about, and I was like, there is a point to that, but at the same time, you said some fucking mad stuff. Like, Kim is tapped. That song is tapped. Do you know? So I don't really know how to take him. Do you get me? I'd be curious to see what the rest of his album is like. I don't think it's all going to be along that team.
I would really, it's just a bit kind of like, oh God, that's what you came back with.
I know, yeah.
Like, that's what you did. And again, like, whatever, it's great for you to turn around and go, of course I don't hate women. I have 3 daughters. That is circumstance. That is not, do you know what I mean?
Choice.
That's like,
Well,
but at the same time, that's not choice. That is, you can either have a girl or a boy, and you had girls.
but he
which is-
adopted 2 girls.
yeah, but they were
That
family.
was choice.
Like,
He
what?
didn't have to.
Obviously he didn't have to, but like, you would like being a parent and being misogynistic has so many different layers. That's like saying I'm not a racist because I know somebody who's black.
Yeah.
Like, you can't conflate those two things.
That's
and
true.
it's like, it's a very different ideal because you were projecting this narrative that other men are singing. Like, you can be clever and quick and think, I don't really mean that, but that's what you're putting out to the world.
Yeah.
So whether you mean it or you don't, somebody else will mean it. Somebody else will take what you were saying and
Well, Eminem condones it.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, and unfortunately, that's kind of the world that we live in. And I don't think that everybody should police their art. But I don't think everybody should police their art about, like, you know, and I particularly hate that where it's like, well, you're a role model. Yeah, but he's talking about killing women. There's a difference between, like, you know, wearing something that someone else might seem as provocative and talking frequently and fluently about raping, harassing, and killing women, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's a super easy cop-out to be like, I've daughters,
Yeah, that's very true.
I've known women, I've certainly shagged them. You know, it's kind of
yeah.
like, it's like when you, like, his music has always kind of reduced women to sexual objects and their positioning in his life and whatever that is. So, for me, if you were saying that you're maturing in your music, like, it's a weird thing for me to do. I'm like, he could have put out like a really cool, detailed, like, I don't want to say indie because it's not indie, but as in a body of work that would have been not so popular, but really
because
him, and it would have been popular.
He can
you know?
afford to do it.
He can afford to do that. Like,
Yeah.
you can afford to make whatever fucking
like
music you want.
fucking, what's her name? Bleeding Beyonce, or what are we calling her? Cowboy Carter.
Yeah, like, that wasn't gonna be a knockout smash. You know, we don't know these things. You know, and that kind
It
of
wasn't going to be Formation, like.
yeah. But because it's Beyonce, she made it.
Yeah.
Cowboy Carter became fucking, you know, everything else like that, and she's kind of, you know, she's had poppier albums and she's had more. Again, I wouldn't say they're experimental, but they're definitely experimental for your average pop girl.
Yeah.
You know, and your average pop guy and your average maybe pop listener, passive pop listener. Let's just say that. But yeah, so that's why that whole thing shocked me.
Yeah.
Because I was a bit like,
I know.
like, it's a cheap shot at Megan Thee Stallion, who doesn't need it, by the way. Like, you don't associate with these, like, you don't, I haven't seen, like, obviously he has some songs with Drake and stuff like that, but, like, not for years. Never seen you with Chris Brown. Never seen you condone that man. Never seen you condone Tory Lanez. Do you know that? It's a very weird thing to be like, oh, this is what's happening. I feel like I'm going to just throw something out about it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not my lane, but
Very
I'm just going to.
flippant.
Yeah, it's a real weird fucking thing. It's like, yeah, well, this happened and I'm going to talk about that now. And it's weird because I saw another, it was an interview that he was doing with one of them who had a fucking barnet. You know, them birds that, like, always seem to have, like, these, you know, Rachel haircuts,
Yeah.
do you know?
Yeah.
And they were always in their, like, mid-late 30s, but they could have been in their mid-late 20s, but the way that they styled them and everything.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she was like having this, you know, where it's kind of like a semi-serious conversation. He's sitting there looking fucking completely bored
Yeah.
with his bleached hair. And he was talking about Britney Spears, and he was like, I don't hate Britney Spears. He was like, you know, she's a teeny bopper. She can be teeny bopper, and she's teeny bopper in, and then you're coming out and you're kind of wearing that outfit. And he was kind of saying, like, you shouldn't be wearing that. And then he was like, but I don't really care what she does. Then you're a role model. Like, my little girl listens to Britney Spears. My little girl loves Britney Spears. I don't really care what she... It was such a weird, like, he was always warring with himself in this interview. I was like, this is so strange.
Madness.
Yeah, I was like, this is such a weird thing. But on the mention of Hayley's podcast, he is just after winning. So there was 2 housewives who have a podcast called Reasonably Shady. Robin Dixon and Gazelle Bryant, now I don't know what one they're from, they tried to file the trademark on the name Reasonably Shady. And he immediately, like, I don't know, who alerts these people? Is it like a Google alert where it's like someone's trying to do something similar to your name?
I don't know.
Yeah, mad, isn't it? So he pretty much, like, he I don't know what it's called, but he counteracted that, saying that the 2 shady brands would cause confusion in the minds of consumers and his own brand would be damaged. So I don't know. I know today I saw something else being like Eminem has pretty much won this.
Okay.
So gas though, isn't it?
So the housewives want to do a podcast.
It's called Reasonably Shady, as in throwing shade at people.
I was going to say absolutely nothing got to do with the Slim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's obviously known as Shady, like Shady. What's his, all his shit shady, isn't it? Anyway. Mm-hmm. So that is, anyway, there's where that's that.
Yeah.
So he won that.
Well done.
Good for you, Gil.
Good for you,
Good for you, Gil. You take your shots at Megan Stallion. Now you take your shots at these girls.
I need to talk about Brigerton.
Oh,
you gave me a task and I watched it and we still haven't talked about it.
Yeah, 2 months too fucking late.
I know, yeah. It's a bit stale now, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, go on. Cheers.
But now the chances of people having watched it and no spoilers. There you go now.
Oh yeah, if you haven't watched it, or maybe you've read the books.
The books.
Maybe you've done a synopsis or 2. Like, what do I like? I love watching synopsises of Love Island. That's my fave thing to do. And I've said this before, horror movies.
Oh yeah, because you don't like
that shit.
Yeah.
I can't watch it, but I am certainly interested to know why everybody's so fascinated with it. And I'll just read it. And for some reason, I can read that level of horror easy.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you can control your own imagination, I suppose.
So, like, right now, I'm right. I don't know if I should keep this for the podcast or for the Patreon.
Keep it. Clickbait the fuckers out into
I've
signing up.
Unbelievably embarrassing thing that happened to me yesterday that will make so much sense to patrons as well.
Oh, okay.
Remind me about it, because I screamed and I shouted when it happened, because I did it and I couldn't believe that I had done it and I was so mortified, and everybody was like, that's not that embarrassing, and I was like, that is terrifying actually.
Okay. Grand.
That's mortifying actually.
I'll put it on my to-do list for
pop
Patreon.
that down there now. That Carla did something, again, another outrageously embarrassing thing, and the book that I'm reading, which is a fanfic, but we'll talk about it, it's very interesting. So boys and girls, Brigerton, I watched immediately.
Yeah.
So the first half came out in May and then the second half came out in June. So if you haven't watched it by now, maybe this is the end of it. This is the end of the podcast for you.
Yeah.
Shall we say?
Yeah.
What else?
I'll note it down the time, because we have our little bit parts, Carla.
Yeah, we do have other things. Yeah, that's fine. Or you could just go, I love doing the plus 30. You know, if someone's talking about some show that I don't give a fuck about.
Yeah.
Like Sex and the City. I'm like, don't care, don't give a fuck.
Absolutely fair enough.
Yeah.
Also, just if you did want to tune out now, just remind you that we're in the Laughter Lounge on the 22nd of August.
Oh yeah, Stala.
Yeah. Ticket link below.
I
don't know what else to tell you.
All the proceeds are going to Palestine.
Yeah.
So
come join us. Brigerton, we open on a lick out scene, my fave.
oh my God, you love a lick out.
I just love the
Do we?
brass neck of it.
We do. It's Anthony and Kate, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Loves a lick out for a gay man.
He's going down on women, it's a swear. Jen's like,
loves it. And I was like, because I did, you were like, please watch Brigerton so that we can talk about it. This is before you went to that wedding and everything. This was weeks ago. I was like, yeah, no bother. Did that.
no bother. Let me
opening scene, lick out. I was like, yes.
It's not an opening scene. It's like there's a couple other things happen before that.
Well, they set the scene with like the the Brigerton house and all the flowers and all that. But I was like, yes. First human interaction, lick out. Nice. Love it.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, because we pick up from last season, obviously, because they were the couple of last season. So now they're like
Yeah. So they're like
consummating,
linking us back in, you know?
linking us back in. They're trying to
Sure.
make an heir, that kind
Sure.
of thing. And she's just like, this isn't how you make an heir. And I'm like, girl, enjoy it. Shut the fuck up.
Jen was like, shut up.
There's no rush.
You've plenty of time.
Yes.
Okay.
When you're pregnant, you're not going to want them anywhere near down there. So just enjoy it. Fuck's sake.
Oh, you make me laugh.
I love it. Actually, one little thing to note, because I'm watching Grey's Anatomy at the moment,
Sure.
which is also created by Shonda Rhimes. And
What?
yes.
Yeah, you've told me this before.
So, I had no idea who Shonda Rhimes was before I started watching it. Well, I obviously copped it when I obviously had seen it, and just it was in my subconscious when I was watching Brigerton seasons 1 and 2. But when I was watching Grey's Anatomy, I was like, I know that name. And then when I watched Brigerton, I was like, that's how I know that name. And I was like, didn't know what she looked like, didn't know what she was about, just saw the name coming up on the screen. I was like, this has to be a black woman. It has to be a black woman. And my reason for thinking of it, I was like, because the diversity in those two casts, unfortunately, especially for when Grey's Anatomy first came out, I think 2006, 2007, unfortunately, no white women in that position were casting so diversely.
Okay.
Because it's 50-50
Okay.
across the board. And in Brigerton, it's the same. And I was like, when I was watching Brigerton, I was like, I need to Google this Shonda Rhimes, like to see what else she had done. Black woman. I was like, isn't it fucking disgraceful that I knew that?
Yeah, you were like, I put that to him. If you hadn't told me, I would have figured it out.
I would have figured it out from the body of work, because no other white woman in that position is thinking that much about diversity and making it 50-50.
Interesting.
Just a little side
I'm
note.
just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Good for you, girl.
Because even when I first started watching Brigerton, I was like, I love this. I love that it's 50-50. And it's like, because usually those period pieces, and I know it's more of a modern take on a period piece, but it's just so whitewashed, that sort of shit usually. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. See, there's been a lot of, because she has always cast, like, it's diverse casts, and you know, there kind of has been a bit of backlash about, like, I've seen a lot of backlash about like a lot of the disabled characters, and I don't know, I don't know enough about it, but it's such a, what I thought was interesting is that it opens up such a big conversation about like Bridgerton, and whether you love it or you hate it, or you think it's silly or you think it's naff, or you know, in that kind of way, has opened up such a massive wide kind of conversation about, like, it's really put people into uncomfy situations.
Yeah.
Do you know? Which I think is like really interesting for something that is, again, like, so like the pop music of fucking TV.
Yeah.
Do you know? So it's nice in a way that a lot of people, well, sorry, it's nice in a way, but in another way, I'm like, how many ways can people expose the fact that they're a bigot?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, especially on threads. Like, threads, my things kept coming up. I don't know why as well, because I never threaded, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't.
About anything, but in particular about Bridgerton.
Yeah.
So, but it kept coming up. Like, I kept seeing these hot takes, so of course I click in.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, because when you're scrolling through Insta, they're like...
There's just like a random hot
They're
take.
trying to get you to dip
Yeah.
your toe.
I know, I just clicked into threads there and it was like Threads turns 1. I was like, oh, a plague.
Already, I
A
know.
plague.
What the fuck?
1 year of nightmare.
Yeah. I still can't navigate it.
No, I can't really get my head around it. But I did think that it was, like, first of all, we love Nicola Coughlan.
Yes.
She is an Irish treasure.
Mm-hmm.
She is everything that we want a celebrity to be.
Yeah.
She's herself. She's so talented. She's really funny. She comes across as herself, but obviously polished in interviews, which I like, because I'm like, oh, be professional, but be yourself.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't like, okay, so unpopular opinion number 1, Luke Newton does nothing for me. Like, Colin as a character,
No, bored.
nothing for me.
Yeah.
Bored the life out of me.
Yeah.
Nicola girl was carrying.
Yeah.
And
like, he had to come back looking a little bit hot, didn't he? Just so there'd be something about him. Because he just blended into the background in season 1 and 2.
But that
So
was, I think that's
forgettable.
the point.
No, I
isn't it?
get that.
Yeah.
But to have Reggie in season 1, like, and then Anthony in season 2, like, they had us hooked.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it probably did do favours for because it was Nicola in this season rather than the bloke.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah. But then I feel like there was a lot of, I think Daphne and, well, Phoebe and Renee had, it was 50-50 on them, do you know? And then she started dating Pete Davidson. Good for her.
Yeah.
And then with like the whole Kate and Anthony thing, I think it was equal. And now I don't know what it is. It's just like for him, the thing about like I enjoyed it and I could give or take. I never watched Queen Charlotte, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's so good! Like watch
Yeah, I've
Queen
heard
Charlotte.
that.
It's excellent. It's brilliant."
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things about Bridgerton this season is that the showrunner is different. So a showrunner is like, people think that like in TV series, a showrunner is essentially like the director.
Yeah.
So for the first 2 seasons, I cannot remember his name, and again because I had all this stuff saved and it's too far down the list now because it's been.
Sorry. Well, I did my task when you told me to.
So
I told you this before. I don't like the way that they're doing it now with the 2
the
separate
2 parts.
release dates.
Yeah. So they changed the showrunner, and that has caused chaos in the Bridgerton fandom world, because you have to remember the Bridgerton fandom world is kind of split between people who read the books before it came out and then watched it because they had read the books, and people who watched it and then read the books, and then people who are like passive enjoyers like myself and yourself.
Yeah.
Like where we're just kind of like, grand, I don't really like historical romance, even though it's horny. It's not really for me. It's just not my bag.
No.
So I probably won't read those books.
No.
But good for you, Gil, if you are reading them. So there was a lot of people who were very upset about like the adaptation and a lot of the things that are really important in the series. Like for instance, in this series, in the books, Penelope and Colin are around 28. So she is seen as a spinster. Like that's it, you're gone.
Yeah.
Like you come out at around,
You're a expired, retired.
like you're
pension.
actually in the coffin.
Get the fuck.
Yeah, that's wild, you know? And
Dushed.
pretty much. So that was a big thing, because in this where there was like so much doesn't make sense. It's like it's Daphne's season, then Penelope and the sisters are kind of fucked into the season, and it's like there's all these different kind of like people get really annoyed about that timeline because it adds a lot to the story as to why Penelope was seen as so like undesirable.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people feel that in the first 2 seasons they made Penelope undesirable because of her quote unquote weight.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was because of her like standing, where her family was, all that other stuff.
Yeah, like they're not a desirable family. Like they're fucked as
Yeah,
a family.
yeah, and they're kind of like.
But I do think that there is an element of, because aren't they going to do 6 seasons? Are they going to do a season for each sibling?
See, I don't know, because there's another really like It's
There's
so
8 of them.
weird to me that. See, with the young, with Gregory, Hyacinth, and so it'll be Benedict's is supposed to be next, but are we getting Benedict next? No, we're getting Francesca next.
I was gonna Francesca was this season.
No, there's a whole different thing. No, that hasn't even started.
Francesca got hitched though this season.
Yeah, girl,
Yeah.
that hasn't even started.
Okay. Because I was thinking it was 2 siblings this season.
Yeah.
I was like, how does that work?
Okay, well.
Okay.
And
And then Benedict as well kind of bores me. I've no interest.
Sorry, Benedict was a slay season 1 and 2, and then they made him into like, what annoyed me about the Benedict thing is, I'm like, you made him out to be like queer leaning in season 1.
Yeah.
Then season 2, it was like, oh, I'll just shag anything. Like if it stands still, I'll shag it. And then it's like season 3, it's like, oh my God, a man, what? I'm like, no, sorry, what? No,
Yeah,
like,
I thought that because when she first introduced him, what was her name, Tilly?
Hate her, by the way. Hate that car. I hate that whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, Benedict is better than this.
But that's what I was like. And then when she introduced the whole thing, and I was like, this isn't. Was he not like in sex clubs and everything in season 1?
That's what I mean. He
doing
was
this?
shagging everything with a pulse. I'm like, you can't make it out like he's like, oh my God, a man. Yeah, babe. Yeah, of course.
I know, yeah. That was a bit strange. And I'm glad you clarified that, because I thought that when I was watching it.
So I was a bit confused, because I'm like, this seems like, I thought the more kind of like, I thought it would be more like in his quote unquote love triangle would be the fact that he didn't really think that he was going to fall for a widower, and then it turned out that she was like, you know, I'm not looking for anything. Like, I thought that would be more of the thing. But anyway, his story completely changes in the books. Like,
right.
you know, so That's what's so the next one will be part 2 of Francesca's story and Benedict, as far as I'm aware.
Right.
But it should have been Benedict's season this season.
Okay.
So it's about, because again, you're supposed to have that timeline jump
Yeah.
because where Colin and Penelope are ancient.
Yeah, okay.
Well, not ancient. She's ancient. He's toured the world for a lot longer. Because you know the way it's like, I went to Europe for 3 months.
Yeah, it was 3 or 6 months.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, oh.
And like you're going by boat, you're not getting there
Yeah,
fast.
that's what I mean. I'm like, so what? You spent a week in Paris. That's it. And then you got the boat back. Shit one.
Exactly. Took you 3 4. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm like, you went to Paris, shagged everyone, and then came back. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds boring. Like,
Nice flex bra.
yeah.
Like,
Like sketched a few birds and then figured out like how you can hire escorts over here. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Like you
it
were
is-
cool. Oh, you're
was
such a
bit
Bridgerton
strange.
man.
And he came back like all fucking knowing.
Oh, it was
and,
mortifying.
Like, the glow after the glow up, I was like, the fucking notions of this fella.
I think, I don't know, he just doesn't give me leading man, like
No.
he doesn't give me leading man whatsoever. Like Benedict is funny. I don't like what they did with his character. I think he was a lot more alluring in season 1 and 2 because you're kind of like, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, he kind of came across as like the comic relief, a little
Yeah.
bit fucking.
I was like, you crazy boy.
Yeah,
Whereas now I'm like, oh,
I know.
is this going to be really?
I'm not interested.
Yeah,
anymore.
I'm like, I'm kind of bored.
Also, right. So can we talk about a few of the the things that actually happened in it?
Yeah.
Where the fuck was Daphne for 2 of her siblings' weddings?
Well, see, that's the actor thing, isn't it?
No,
'Cause
of course it. Oh, and that was going to be another point. Did they do Penelope's season now in case they fear that they're going to lose Nicola Coughlan to Hollywood?
No, she signed on, like when she signed on for it, she signed on. She read the books, like she knew what she was signing up for, like, and that's, see, this is where it's kind of getting really weird because a lot of people were saying about like with Gregory and Hyacinth, like they're kids
They're
in
growing
that,
up on the show.
but they're growing. They'll be over the age of 18 by the time their seasons are. I'm like, I am not trying to watch that.
No, I know. I've seen them as a kid. Yeah.
That's too strange for me. You're going to have to do a little recast situation like they did with Francesca.
Yeah.
You know, in that kind of way, and found the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in
Oh,
my life.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus
She's
Christ.
like a
I was like,
fucking
where
angel.
did you come from?
I know. Who are
Like,
you?
you were actually what they were talking about.
With Daphne.
Well, Daphne's beautiful too, but I'm like, someone who's like, you're so classically attractive.
Oh, God.
Like, people
Like-
have painted you before.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
You've inspired.
But that's why I was like, she is like. Do you remember in season 1 when like Queen Charlotte was like, "Oh, you're my diamond," and this was the first ever
Yeah,
diamond,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like Daphne was just so stunning to her. I was like, "No, that's Francesca. Francesca is the
yeah.
one who should have caught your eye."
Yeah. But then she was also 12 in Daphne's, well, apparently 12 in Daphne's season. So,
No, but why they had to fight to get a fucking diamond? This,
yeah.
do you know?
But I
like
think
that
it's
whole thing.
because so there's a lot of talks about that as well, because it's like in it they kind of lean toward it, and I don't know if it's like talked about in the books or what, but it's kind of leaning toward that Francesca's autistic, and that's why she's seen as kind of like the odd one out and a little bit strange, and she doesn't like parties, and she doesn't like crowds, and she doesn't, she does her music, and she's kind of almost like a savant when it comes to the music, and then that's why her and John, is it John?
Oh, was it John? Yeah, I think.
John, anyway.
Maybe.
So that's why, and her and John is kind of like of a similar. So I don't know if that's something that I'm not sure if that's something that the book discusses or the fandom discusses or it's implied.
Because the two of them just sit there not saying nothing and stuff like
Well,
that.
it's kind of that kind of way where it's like, why is she not like Daphne, who was just so excited to be the diamond, and why does she not want to go to the balls? And I'm kind of like, well, none of those girls, like, there's a couple of things. Also, Portia Featherington is my queen. She's everything.
She? Was she
Actually, the
taller
Featherington
sister?
family, no, she's the mum. She is everything. I love her. They are so good as a quartet. That family
Yeah.
are so good
They kind of annoy me, but I like to see it.
in a good way.
Yeah.
It's like
you love to
when-
hate them.
But when they come on the screen, I'm not bored.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fucking always bored when the scenes come on and it's the Queen and you're one, Lady Danbury.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh.
This fucking
Sniffs.
Lady Danbury would want to get her fucking nose out of it.
So apparently there's loads about that in the Queen Charlotte season.
Right,
I didn't
okay.
watch that because she was forced to marry a really old man.
Okay. Oh yeah, and they do reference it with her brother.
with the
shoulder.
brother and all that other kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is so confusing. Like, I don't
And
really
is the
understand.
brother gonna
this
get
either.
with?
Yeah, the ma.
ma.
But what's weird about it is with the Daphne thing is that Colin, when Colin goes to the mum is like, you can be in love with whoever you want to be. Apparently in the books, a big part of the book is that he goes to Daphne being like, I think I'm falling for Penelope. And Daphne's the one who coaches him through it.
Right,
Because
okay.
she's like, look, me and him didn't get on. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? She
yeah.
was kind of like, look, not every love looks the same. Look at me and him. And that kind and she was like, and then look at Anthony and Kate, and that it was that kind of way. And Benedict and Hisbert, Elise or something. Elise is his sister. Can't remember. Sophie, I think Hisbert's going to be called.
Right.
But so everybody was like, that was a real pivotal thing. I'm like, okay, well, if the girl doesn't want to come back and shoot it, like they can't really do anything.
I know, yeah.
Her season was effectively
Starting
4
point
seasons ago since they split it.
Yeah.
So, and also, when did it come out? So it would have been cast
2021, I think.
when it first came out.
It was during lockdown.
But it would have been shot before that. So 2019 is probably when they would have started it.
Probably,
Jesus, that's a lot. Like, that's 5 years ago
Yeah.
that they all kind of stepped into it. And then it was like, took so long for this season to come out. Anyway, I think
that was the writers' strike and all that.
Yeah,
That's
but
something to do with that.
I think the conversation, like the biggest things that I've seen about the conversation has been that the showrunner has changed, and you can tell it's nowhere near as like fluent and easy as the other seasons have been. So she was the person who's the showrunner now. I think her name's Jessica something. She was the assistant showrunner, I think, to the main showrunner, some man, can't remember his name.
Okay.
And then she came in and took over, and that's effectively like when you come in as a showrunner on a TV series, it's like your vision. So a lot of things changed, and people were like, the colors had changed. A lot of the stuff that seemed really elegant about it before had changed.
Right.
Didn't like a lot of the styling. Didn't like a lot of the stuff that was kind of going on. Seemed very different to the other seasons. Now, I would just say that's because we're so far on in the world, as in we've moved on in the world
With technology and
with
props and
everything.
Everything,
Like
yeah.
you can't.
hair and makeup, the whole shebang.
Yeah, it's like I always use the Harry Potter films, but like the third Harry Potter films was, I can't remember, of course.
Twilight.
It was shot by it was a completely different director.
Yeah.
And it's really like moody and edgy. And it's cool because that book is like the moodier, edgier one out of the first 3, before it gets real fucking heavy. So that's obviously, and as we know with Stephanie Meyer and with Twilight and stuff, like that changed. It became real glossy by the end, and it started off as real like,
It was very CGI at the end. The start of it was like shot on an iPhone.
Yeah, but cool.
Yeah.
Like it was like, this might be an indie film. It's
Yeah.
not. But it was like making it out like it might be.
Yeah.
So there was that thing. Then the second thing was the discourse about fucking, oh my God, the discourse about Luke and Nicola as a twosome.
Oh, everybody's shipping them.
My God, people are losers.
Yeah.
The same people who are Swifties and take that so fucking seriously.
Yeah.
This is so, because basically what happened was Nicola and Luke obviously get on really well, but everybody, because of their season and because of what was happening in their season, really wanted to see them like together in real life. Luke has a girlfriend.
Stop doing that to actors, please.
Luke has a girlfriend, and the day that the last season came out, the first public photos of him and the girlfriend came out. And everybody was like, that's fucked up. Why did he let himself get papped? Let us live the dream. And I'm like, what? First of all, what?
Owes you nothing.
There were so many theories, but then, so I was like, that's bonkers. That's so weird of you all.
Yeah.
Again, that is so weird of you all. You can enjoy their cute, and it was like, but they're marketing themselves as a couple. They're marketing themselves as a duet on a red carpet
taking
about a
fucking
TV series about them.
selfies
But that's what I mean. I'm like, of
set.
course they're gonna like. They're still working. When they're on the red carpet, they are working.
Yeah.
They're working.
Trying to sell the show.
So they're selling the show. So of course they're going to hold hands. Of course they're going to like do interviews together because they are working. It's part of the work that they do. It's their job.
Yeah.
Why am I explaining?
But this is the same as like, and so many soap stars have said it, like if they were a bad guy or whatever. I think your one who did, your one who played Ronnie on EastEnders, her real name, evades me at the moment. But when she did that, she stole or she kidnapped a baby as Ronnie. It was Cat and Alfie's baby, and she took the baby like the death threats that she got in real life and everything like that. It was like,
people are
or like
weird.
if she's walking down the street, because like she's a soap star, she's not.
Yeah, you really have to consider taking a role nowadays, don't you?
Like, but she said the fucking hate that I got, and I've heard loads of actors saying that, like especially if they're the bad guy,
villain.
the villain. They're like, sometimes it's kind of like you do need to go underground for a
You
while.
almost have to be big enough and have other role, like be known for huge other
Established
roles
enough,
before you become like the villain. Otherwise, people are gonna.
Yeah.
I don't know why
associate you
people
with.
can't figure that out. Like that's, and it's one thing to be like in your brain being like, I don't think I trust that guy. It's another thing to like actively
Go over and
go
do something about it, like
try and do something about it, or
Yeah.
you know, be really weird and rampant in online forums and all that other kind of stuff. That one, that's always so strange to me. But yeah, so that was a big thing. So the photo came out of him and his bird on the day that the second season was released, and that was like, cat's out of the bag, can't believe it, this is so fucked up. Like, how could he do this? Crazy. But it turns out that there was a lot of conversation around Nicola Coughlin's weight and her as a plus size, because Penelope is written as a plus size character and Nicola Coughlin is not plus size. But people think she's a lot more. She's 5 foot, she's short, and she's a size 10.
Yeah.
So people, like, again, they can't really figure out in their brains how, you know, how that can be a leading lady sometimes, and how that can have a romantic, like, have sex scenes and have, like, you know, nudity.
And I get why, because it's not shown. Because when when they did their sex scenes, you know, when he had proposed to her or whatever, and they were in there, like they were doing their bits and pieces in the room, and it showed like the bits, like the bit that they'll show of the two of them. They like obviously don't go full frontal. And I was looking at Nicola, and I was just like, you don't see this. This is mad that I'm like, I think this is the first time I've seen this type of body on screen. It's fucking mental that this is the first time I'm seeing it. Yeah. Like the same way I could tell that Shonda Rhimes was a black woman because of the casting.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking mental that this is the first time I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was very glaringly obvious. And I was going, like, it's fucking mad the way that the whole conversation around it. It's just, and especially when she came out with Skims that time as well, like the whole conversation around it, I was like, why are we still?
Yeah, it's really strange to like take.
There's such a culture around making this a big deal, like.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm like, it's shite that it had to be made a big deal out of in the first place.
Yeah.
But it's good in a way to see how much positivity there was about that.
Yeah.
But it's also really hard then when you're kind of dealing with this level of aggression toward Nicola and Luke as a couple in real life.
That's crazy.
But then apparently his girlfriend's mum was liking a lot of body shaming comments about Nicola. So that's why there was beef. So that's why people were like, because again, the internet sleuths.
What the fuck?
She, maybe herself and her mother had liked one or two things, but the mother had definitely liked a couple of body shaming comments about Nicola, and then I think a lot of people were also saying like it's really disappointing to see him with a straight sized girl and I'm like, oh my god, this is mad, like,
yeah,
this is mad.
But do you know what? There's people have too many opinions about people that they don't know about.
As we sit here on this podcast.
Like, it's mad. I was what was I waiting on? I was in Get Me BBL yesterday. The face laser, not the bum implants. I was scrolling through Facebook, right? BuzzFeed had put up this thing saying Brad Pitt doesn't see his kids around like that. And I just went into the comments.
Just a regular day.
Yeah, just a regular day. And I went into the comments, and of course, like loads of Americans, there was this woman who had written a thing saying, "Oh, I'm willing to bet that she badmouths him in front of the kids." Oh. And then there was 2 women who replied saying, "Oh, I think she's crazy," and you know, something along the lines. So do you know what? I said, I'm fucking replying to this.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you, Gil.
I felt like fighting. And I didn't just reply to the original comment. I actively sought out to tag the 2 women who replied to her. And I tagged the three of them and I was like, misogyny is alive and well, I see. And I was planning on leaving it at that. And then she goes, as a woman, I support, how is it misogynistic? I support, I just call it like I say it. And I was like, the context is there. It's in the article that he abused Maddox. She filed for divorce 6 days later. There's your context. That's all you need to know. Yet you're willing to bet that she did something negative against the man.
Yeah. Because you're calling it like you see it.
What else would you call it? And then I was like, but then, not reading the article, forming a flippant comment out of your opinion on a headline that you know nothing about people that you don't know. It's Facebook all over. So I'm out. And I left it at that. She didn't reply.
Oh.
American flag in our profile photo and all. I was just like, fuck.
Fucking evil. She's probably sent there by Brad Pitt himself.
Yeah. I was like,
anyway.
he didn't have to do anything. He just got her support.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He was just Brad Pitt.
Fuck. And I was like, what is wrong with people?
Desirability politics. People are fucking weirdos.
Fucking mental.
Right.
Anyway, we'll leave us with a few little bit parts before we let you go. Go on, hang on a second. I do my own unpopular opinion of the week.
Oh. You sound like a tractor.
I'm loving Simon Harris.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
It's so tough.
It's just shocking. It's just more shocking than anything.
Yeah.
It's more shocking than anything.
Like, I know that man is looking to be elected because he's not my Taoiseach. Nobody asked for this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no one put you here.
No one put you here.
Yeah.
But it's like some of his actions. I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm there with you.
Like,
confusing, but also I'm willing to give anyone a second shot if they do the right thing.
Very true. I loved this week in particular, and I do think we need to pay out to Tori TUO. That was
to who? Sorry,
Tori TUO. So Mary Lou McDonald was in the Dáil during the week.
Sorry, yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
It took me a minute.
And she brought to the Dáil's attention that there was a woman, an Irish woman in Dubai. She was in an incident where there was domestic violence after taking place. She tried to lock herself upstairs. She attempted to take her own life, and there was a lot of alcohol involved. I think she consumed alcohol or whatever. Instead of taking the man out of the situation and apprehending the man, she was taken into custody. And there was a block put on her passport and a travel ban. She was basically being penalised for what had happened because of the laws in the UAE.
Well, this is another reason why I don't fuck with Dubai.
You don't fuck with Dubai. Like,
no, I don't fuck with Dubai, and I don't fuck with people who think that it's like the absolute ultimate of holidays. I'm like, that they hate humans.
They hate women and
they hate women. They hate humans just in general. Like, their human rights are fucking up in a.
Like, that's what is so conflicting, because their tax system is really fair. They're like, it's a beautiful fucking place. Do you know what I mean? Like, it seems ideal, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
The politics is fucked.
Yeah, I'm like, stop going to places like this.
I know, stop supporting them.
Yeah.
But so Mary Lou McDonald brought it to and you know how they are with the opposition, and they're always fucking at arms with each other, and they're always just fighting. And I think she spoke so eloquently in the Dáil. Yeah. And Simon Harris looked genuinely heartbroken at the story, and he was like, thanks for bringing it to my attention. And within a day, she was home. They took action immediately.
Okay, slay.
Do you know what I mean?
I know. And look,
like, fair play to all involved. Do you know what I mean? I'm delighted she's home. She's from Roscommon. And I suppose she just felt like at the time, and I'm sure, I don't want there to be a media frenzy around her. I really fucking hope that they leave her alone. Like, I'd love to talk to her and see what she went through, but I would obviously never fucking approach her. But I have a feeling fucking Virgin Media are just going to be all over it. But anyway, she got home safe anyway, and that was. But even with Natasha O'Brien, with just the way that he's carrying himself, I'm like, oh, I kind of love you. I'm kind of liking it. But then, like, Fine Gael, so many bad things.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those things where people are like, how could you be so... You have to take... Actions speak louder than words, you know?
Yeah.
We've stood there and watched every politics stand there. Every politician stand there and say lots of things and not do fuck all and be like, housing is a real problem. Anyway, I've 3 months off for the summer and I'll see you later. Like,
I know.
I know, guys, homeless people, crazy.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
And like as well, with all of the party leaders stepping down, I'm fucking terrified of what's coming. Like,
oh, like sorry, we also have to talk about. Well, we won't talk about it now, but like the British election as well.
Oh
my god! I would say it was like Tom's Christmas. It was fucking gas.
It was a fucking...
The way they do the countdown is hilarious.
Like...
I like the way they do the countdown and it's like...
It's real American though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 5, 4,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. And then it just flashes up like who's got all the votes. I was like,
Yeah.
like it's mad.
It is mad.
And they're like running around and it's like, who's going to be first to count? And then it's like this team and like Surrey are like, yeah, we're going to be the first to count. And then somebody else is like in Bristol, they're like, we're going to be the first to count. It's mad.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is
You
kind of
stayed
crazy.
up all night watching it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a show, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. It's just, and he was like, and it would be like, he was like, Liz Truss out. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm asleep. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I'm in bed. Go away.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I do love a night count. There's something about like the frenzy of being in the night. I don't know.
There is, yeah. It's gone
bold.
so long.
Yeah, it's like it's bold.
That it's you're same with Super Bowl.
Night. Yeah. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
So anyway.
So out of the ordinary. Sorry, do you have a stomper before we go?
I put it up later. I put it up earlier. Listen to your heart.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be, no bother at all.
a great
That's
stomper.
absolutely brilliant. We're going to go and record our Patreon now, which we will leave you a snippet of. Speak English, Jen. And we hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Or I love when they're like, here's a brief of all, like a million different rules. Now you create a concept and another brief and send that back to us and we'll approve that. And I'm like,
But
okay.
you need to dodge all of these things.
But you need to not do any of these things, but it has to be in your tone of voice and it has to be you.
Organic.
It has to be very
Your
you.
followers have to relate to it.
Yeah, I'm like, what? I'm so confused. You give me all these instructions. I would be effing and blinding right now putting
Yeah,
on
exactly.
this fucking eyeliner. Do you know what I mean?
I
I'd be
know.
literally like, I'd be doing my brows while driving the car if it was up to me. Like,
Yeah.
you know? I'd be doing donuts around the Londis
Yeah.
if it was up to me.
I would love if the ASII were just like, right, companies, you can ask the influencers to do the stuff, but you're not allowed to give them instruction anymore. You have to give them free reign. Just for 6
Wild.
months.
Yeah.
I think people would love it.
I think it would be hilarious.
It would be brilliant.
So funny.
You'd be like, give me another ad now,
It would be
please.
hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It really would.
Yeah.
And that's why and it's so opposite to what I used to think when influencer culture was coming up in the world. You know, when everybody like thought it was the fucking devil. And like anytime you'd hear, like, it was always gossip if an influencer went to a brand with a concept.
Yeah. Oh,
Rather-
yeah.
Do you remember how fucking
Yeah. It was like, oh my God, can you believe
notions? But it works out so, like, I'd love to approach a brand and be just like, here, love the brand, want to do this, be fucking gas, what do you think? And I just think the content in general, if that's the way that the world was, would be better.
I don't know why you don't do that though, because you have like a comedy platform, do you know? I don't know why you don't just like be like, hi, I have this idea.
I do have a bit of a swing in that arena, yeah, I suppose. I probably could. But maybe I could like set myself a goal for like 6 months, see what I can get out of it.
Yeah, why don't you just approach people? Like, you
Why
might as
don't I?
well. Yeah. There's such dog shit stuff going out there, so why don't you just be the change that you want to see? What's the phrase? Be the change in the world that you want to see. Be the
Practice what you preach.
be the
That's as far as I can get.
be the girly pop that you want to girly pop.
Yeah.